Each argument usually contains three main structural parts: a conclusion, premises or evidence, and assumptions. Let's look at them one by one. Conclusions are statements that the argument seeks to prove. These are often located at the beginning or at the very end of the passage. In some questions, no conclusions are stated, and you are asked to provide them. A conclusion is often introduced by one of the following key words: hence, therefore, conclude that, as a result, and so on. A GMAT argument may have more than one conclusion. Consider the following example. Mr. Sanchez will be the best choice for this position. He knows everything about our company and services because he has been working for us since the company was established in 2003. In this argument, there are two conclusions: the main conclusion and the sub-conclusion. The main conclusion is what the argument seeks to prove. Mr. Sanchez will be the best choice for this position. It is supported by the evidence that he knows everything about the company and services, a sub-conclusion. The sub-conclusion, he knows everything about our company and services, is supported by the fact that he has been working for us since the company was established in 2003. As you can see, the sub-conclusion itself serves as evidence in support of the main conclusion. Premises or evidence comprises the supporting facts written into the text. It answers the question, why does the author conclude this? Evidence is information provided to support a conclusion. Premises are statements of evidence. Sometimes you can identify evidence by the flag words that accompany evidentiary statements, such as because, for, suppose, assume, may be derived from, as, if, since, is evidence that, in that, owing to, and according to. Evidence can also be identified by the presence of dates, in 1988, 5 years ago, and data, numbers and percentages. Other GMAT arguments simply state premises and/or conclusions without any indicating words. For example, revenues of the Atlantis Hotel are lower than those of the Layton Hotel because there are fewer visitors to the Atlantis Hotel. Here, the conclusion is that revenues of the Atlantis Hotel are lower than those of the Layton Hotel, but this conclusion is introduced without an indicator, unlike the premise, there are fewer visitors to the Atlantis Hotel, which does have an indicator, because. Although flag words or indicators can help identify conclusions or evidence sometimes, the best way to find the premises and conclusion of an argument is to look at its structure, determine what is being proved and what is being used to prove it. Whatever it is that an argument as a whole seeks to prove is the main conclusion of the argument. The rest is evidence. As you analyze the structure of an argument, you can add flag words of your own to help identify its elements. Assumptions are not explicitly stated in the argument, they are only assumed. They can be vital to an argument because they can supply a missing link between the evidence of an argument and its conclusion. Some assumptions are obvious, others are more subtle. Pay close attention to each GMAT question to see whether it is one that requires you to make assumptions. Not all of them do. To detect assumptions, remember to look for a gap between the conclusion and the evidence. We will talk about assumptions in more detail later in this lesson. It is vital that you learn how to identify elements of the argument. You will not be able to weaken or strengthen an argument if you do not know what was concluded and on what evidence.